Welcome to the far corner of the Omniverse. Hope you enjoy your stay. Long ago, on a night darker than any other, from the shadows emerged two rainbow eyes, a pale arm, a similar arm covered in blood, and a scream that could deafen sound itself. 7 floods later, Epilogue City is the safest place in hell. It was untouched by the 7 water cycles that emerged after the floods. Red water has no boiling point. In theory, there's no limit to how hot it can get. Orange water combines matter, also known as fusion honey. Yellow water shrinks matter. Green water grows matter. Blue cannot get colder or hotter, even when the surrounding temperature rose and fell. If the surrounding temperature was warmer, it would get denser, and the cooler it was, the less dense it would become. Indigo water has no freezing point, and in essence is the opposite of red water. Violet water separates matter, often in strange and inconvenient ways. The effects of these liquids can be countered by aquanium, a recently discovered miracle material that unfortunately still holds a bronze medal to the gold of the floods. The silver medal is Epilogue City, population 13 million, the safest place in the world. It averages 3,000 murders, 2,344 violent crimes, 1,500 robberies, and 400 bear attacks a month. It's also home to the 3rd most diverse flora and fauna in the world. In theory, it should be a paradise, but in practice, it's a pyramid. That's why Jakaya thought Odd Jobs was too good to be true. Most of these non-profit charity organizations always had some catch, always some kind of hair in the soup in one way or another. Unfortunately, she had a lot of those holding her together for food, housing, and health. One day she was coming home from getting her hormones and was attacked by 2 members of the 100 Hurricanes, a right-wing terrorist organization that uses a diverse selection of martial arts from around the world to, in their words, enforce purity for clean people. They pushed her to the ground, stomped her to near unconsciousness while calling her disgusting, liar, and other horrible things. Her pills were taken from her, and they mockingly reassured her that they wouldn't go to waste. If that wasn't bad enough, she was in that uncomfortable time between paychecks, so it would be a long while before a refill. As she was gathering herself off the ground, she heard a familiar voice. "Miss Jakaya!" It was Finn, an energetic red-headed boy from her neighborhood. He was always getting injured from some sports-related stunt, but he was a good kid. He ran to her side and helped her up. "I saw what happened. Are you okay?" She tried to maintain her composure. Yeah, thanks, sweetie. I just need to call a ride to the On the ground, she sees her phone, broken in 2. A man on the other side of the street yells, "See? God don't like that!" Finn shot him a glare. Jakaya frantically felt her face, and as she feared, her mask was gone and nowhere to be found. The radical change in climate after the floods created a new strand of flu, known as the Tiara virus, which killed millions of people. A small upside to this was the normalization of face masks in public, at least where she was from, which helped her feel safe at her current stage of transition. But now in its place was an unwanted 5 o'clock shadow. Jakaya finally broke down into tears. She felt so overwhelmed. "I'm really sorry this is happening to you, Miss Jakaya," Ben said. "On the bright side, I do know an urgent clinic not far from here. We can go whenever you're ready." Soon they started walking and talking about what just occurred, and when she mentioned her medication, Finn's face lit up. "I know someone who can help you get them back." She gave him a weak smile. "They're probably long gone now, Finn. I'll just wait till next payday." Finn argued, "Please, Miss Jakaya, trust me. His name's Iriso, and he's strong and smart and brave, and he never breaks a promise. He'll get your medicine back and make sure those jerks never bother you again. He's helped me and my sister so many times." She was still doubtful, but this Iriso did pique her curiosity. But with all due respect to Finn, she wanted the perspective of someone a bit older. After getting discharged with thankfully no permanent injuries, she went over to Finn and Lena's house. They discussed Iriso over tea. "Remember the Clown Clan?" she asked as she added sweetener. "Yeah," Jakaya replied. "Those creeps had the whole street indoors and ready for bed by 5. Whatever happened to them? It's like one day they just stopped being an issue anymore." "Iriso," she said after taking a sip. "One night they were making a lot of noise. Had knives, guns, other random crap." Then Iriso told them, "I promise whatever you do to these people tonight, I'll do to you." Never saw him again. When was this? Jakaya replied in shock. Like the third weekend of this past November, Lena said. You know you're always asleep or at work when sun's going down. Lucky. She teased. Now Jakaya was more convinced of this Iriso guy, but her life was full of days like today. And those days taught her that all that glitters, definitely, painfully, is not gold. Yet everything just had the audacity to glitter. But curiosity outweighing her pessimism, she asked the siblings to take her to Iriso. The next day, a train and a bus later, Jakaya and Finn arrived near the center of Epilogue. They walk across the street to Rainbow Plaza, a colorful little outdoor mall of small businesses and niche services. There's Leafland, a tea cafe, Light Star, spelled with a Z, for all one's light-related needs, A-Game, a sports equipment shop with a functional basketball hoop on the roof, and a sign with very specific rules about it. Radio XZ is a station for Indian underground talent. Lephook Books sold eccentric, progressive, and banned books. Mystery Mart specializes in redacted, and redacted. Skylabs offers inventive solutions for oddly specific problems. There was Pink Souls, a shop for feminine gamers and nerds. White Line, an ultra niche clothing store with literally just a white line as their sign, and depending on who you ask, their staff is either very cool or very pretentious. Area 449 is a restaurant that makes any combination that sounds gross taste amazing. Their chocolate tomato shake is a favorite among plaza goers. And lastly, underneath the clock tower is Odd Jobs, a social justice organization run by the man who never breaks a promise, Iriso. But today you wouldn't know that unless you're a regular at Rainbow Plaza, because his desk was surrounded by a crowd of about 60 people. What's going on, Finn? Asked Jakaya. That's right, Finn said excitedly. He said he was going to do that today. Come on, Miss Jakaya. They maneuvered through the crowd to see a man juggling on a long white rectangular desk that read Odd Jobs on the front in black paint. Jakaya's eyes widened as she realized he was juggling a pineapple, a bowling ball, and a katana. He wore a white beanie with a black nose symbol that covered his eyes and nose, or at least the area where those would be for most people. In the back, his hat stretched down to his nape. The O's on his desk also doubled as nose symbols, and his skin was just as pale as every piece of white clothing and item he had. He was lean, medium height, and had 5 solid black rings alternating across his 10 fingers. He had a white shirt with a black collar and somewhat tight cylindrical cuffs that went up half his forearm. The shirt zipped all the way up, decorated by a black tie that looked like a long isosceles triangle with the bottom side skewing right. He wore white jeans with vertical ovals on the knees held up by a white belt with black eyelets, belt buckle, and round sturdy shoes to match. He had a strong, slim, and somewhat elongated upside-down trapezoid of a jawline. It housed an enigmatic smile that somehow both put Jakaya at ease and terrified her. Giramento! He shouted as he juggled. The crowd cheered, but suddenly the cheers were drowned out by the roar of a grizzly bear. The crowd screamed and ran, and surprised Iriso, who fell on his face, and all 3 items he juggled bumped his head. While Jakaya was still processing the past 5 minutes, Ben had been grabbed by the bear from behind. Iriso flashed up, dashed over, and put his hands on his hips. Murphy, I thought you were going to go easy on the bottle. He roars back, livid, foaming at the mouth. I know, I hear you, but I'm going to need you to let him go. He roars even louder and holds him tighter. Okay, understood. Up! Iriso launches Murphy up in the sky with an uppercut. Giramento! Iriso declares. Murphy's bottom half landed face down on the clock tower, which luckily for him had nothing sharp on it. Then he flipped back onto the roof of Lephook. Then he landed in front of the Odd Jobs desk with a thud. Ben exhaled, then the crowd clapped as Iriso took a bow. Jakaya wasn't sure what to make of all this, and she was beginning to wonder if that hurricane attack broke her brain. Then Iriso approached her. Are you Miss Jakaya? He asked. She was taken aback. Why do you ask? Iriso pulled a piece of paper out of his left cuff. Finn airplaned me this yesterday, said you had an emergency. His description looks just like you. She was confused. Airplanes? I only accept walk-ins and paper airplanes for help requests, he explained. First come, first served. I could give you the coordinates later if you want, but right now we have an emergency. I'm Iriso, by the way. Pronouns he, him, never broke a promise. How can I help you? She elected to worry about whatever this airplaning process was later. Jakaya, she, her. She detailed to him her problem, and he listened intently with his arms crossed, leaning on his desk. Hurricanes, huh? They've been on my radar for a few weeks. I promise I'll get your medicine back, and I swear they're going to be sorry they ever even thought about hurting you. Epilogue had 5 towers: north, south, east, west, and central. A couple of weeks ago, the Hurricanes started gathering every Monday on the roof of South Tower to discuss strategies and boost morale. They all wore white pants, shoes, and shirts, and red jackets with big white hurricane symbols on the back. To show their support for President Paradigm, they wore red hats with the letters MEGA in white letters, standing for Make Epilogue Good Again. There was a miscellaneous mart in the city below that was at the perfect angle to see them all gather. In the parking lot, a man commented, "Ain't that the truth? Even the towers are wearing mega hats." A lady looked up at the Hurricanes and said, "Looks more like his head is bleeding." And she took a sip of her wine as she climbed into the passenger seat. Hurricane Gunner was the leader of the 100 Hurricanes. He believed the most effective love was tough love, and that if honesty wasn't brutal, it was a lie. The top of South Tower was especially tumultuous that day, erupting with their favorite jokes about homeless people, obscure slurs they felt were long overdue for a comeback, and rumors about scientists finding a cure for crying. All it took for them to fall silent was Hurricane Gunner walking up to the podium. "Before we begin this meeting, understand that I am disappointed in every single one of you. Hurricane Dexter, Hurricane Boris, get up here." The 2 men who had beaten and robbed an innocent woman joined Gunner in front of the crowd. Gunner pulled a white bag out of his jacket pocket. "Yesterday, we took back the fruits of our women from those men, those sad, failed, perverted men." "But what about the day before yesterday, or the day before that, or the day before that? Have we gone soft?" "No, High Hurricane," shouted the 99. Before Gunner could continue, someone calmly spoke up. "Actually, yeah." Suddenly a sea of livid eyes were on Iriso, who sat in the center of the red miasma. Gunner growled, "Son, I don't know who you think you're talking to." "But nothing wrong with that," Iriso interrupted. "Why make things needlessly difficult? Also, is this your phone?" He held up a big, bulky, almost tablet-sized phone with red and white camouflage. "Where did you get that?" he snapped. "Ah, so it is yours," Iriso said with faux realization. Bounded on the floor, roof, surface beneath us. "You know, it's funny, I've been going through your search history for about 20 minutes and I have yet to find a single cis woman. Wow, this must be your favorite video on the internet. Mind if I turn it up so the class can hear?" "Formation 100!" Gunner yelled like sound was going extinct. The muscle memory activated before the other Hurricanes could process their leader's hypocrisy. It was their most powerful technique. 100-man tackle from jumping a mile in the air. From where their victims were standing, it looked like a sunset from hell. Iriso took off a ring. "Bounders, I swear I'll punish you all before this ring hits the roof," he declared as he flicked it into the air. For he would not be their victims today, because Iriso jumped 2 miles into the air, and he took Gunner with him. As they descended rapidly, Iriso held the bounder in a submission hold from behind until he was certain all 99 had landed. Boom! There, Iriso released his hold and spun Gunner around to face him. Iriso reached his arms out and made his left arm make a semicircle to the right, and his right arm make a semicircle to the left, until they arrived at his center. Then he pulled them back into 2 fists, one facing up, the other down. "Go! Juramento!" Gunner could only look on in horror as Iriso launched his fist forward, slamming them into him. Gunner crashed into his men like a comet. The pile of Hurricanes exploded. About a third fell off the tower. Roughly a third had most of their bones shattered. And about a third of them would be comatose, dreaming of their worst fears until they awoke on their final day. The rest had every other possible injury spread out among them. Iriso was durable but not invincible, but luckily there were plenty of areas to break his fall. He had retrieved the meds while he was in the air, and knew Jakaya would appreciate Gunner's phone once it had been factory reset. He took a minute to take a break, head still very sore from the juggling incident, when he heard a young voice say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, please don't let me fall." He followed the voice to the east edge of the tower. The kid couldn't have been older than 14. "Hey man, look, I just wanted friends. I didn't ask for all this. Please, help me up, come on." Iriso hesitated, then reached his hand out. As he pulled him up, suddenly the kid flipped him. But thanks to his reflexes, Iriso was now hanging off the tower too. That's what you get for being soft. He hit Iriso's hand repeatedly, longing to make him fall. Hands sore and exhausted, Iriso was down to one hand, one wrong move away from his demise. All of a sudden, before the kid could make another hit, what looked like a streak of black lightning came down from the heavens and struck his other hand, Iriso's ring. He screamed in horror as he fell to his doom. The ring landed on the roof, as promised. Unfortunately, Iriso had no strength left to get himself up, but he'd rather die than break a promise. After 5 minutes of struggle, sweat drowning his stamina, Iriso lost his grip. You're listening to Far Fiction. Hey, lovely listeners, Farley here, enjoying your stay, picking up what we're putting down. Visit patreon.com/project_far, or you can buy us a coffee. Links in the description below to support the channel. The future of the Farverse depends on it, so no pressure. Thanks for listening. Now, back to the show. Ben was starting to worry. Iriso never took this long, and the plaza was about to close. Miss Jakaya, I need to start heading home. You don't think... She smiled. He'll be here. Go on, don't get in trouble. I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. Ben hugged her goodbye and left for the bus stop. But she wasn't just saying that to help Ben feel better. All the things she saw today gave her hope. Then suddenly she heard Finn yelling, "Hey, let me go!" Jakaya followed the voice to right outside the plaza, where Murphy the bear held Finn over his head with a slurred roar. Put him down! She swung her purse at him. Murphy obliged in the worst way possible by throwing Finn at Jakaya. They were too discombobulated to do anything as Murphy prepared to maul them. Down! Tormento! Iriso had returned. He came behind Murphy with a flip and kicked the top of his head. The bear landed on the ground with a thump. The two were overjoyed to see him. They greeted him with hugs, and Iriso handed Jakaya the bag. I believe these are yours, Miss Jakaya. And I was able to find you a new phone, too. Her eyes began to drizzle. I can't thank you enough. Did you get something for me too, Iriso? Ben asked. How about a story while I wait with you two for the bus? I guess, Finn said, teasing with a grin on his face. What do you mean, you guess? Iriso joked back, giving him a noogie. Jakaya couldn't remember the last time she was so happy. 2 hours earlier. The second Iriso started falling, he felt an upward pull. Iriso's body automatically humored it because it was definitely better than the alternative. When he reached the top, he saw his rescuer was the last one he expected, Hurricane Gunner. Iriso prepared to defend himself, but Gunner just started walking away. He sat down on a pile of jackets and rubble and lit a cigarette. For a while, Iriso just stared at him as he smoked. Then he grabbed his ring and started making his way back to Rainbow Plaza. The Hurricanes have been disbanded ever since. Hope you enjoyed your stay. Subscribe and like to keep the portal to the Farverse open, and thanks for watching. Take care, lovely listeners. Later.